I always have in my head a sort of a little, uh, I just store away, who is gracious and who wasn't, and who treats me well and it's just fascinating when you come to somebody's house, when you're doing oral history or their place of work, how do they treat you? And that, for some reason, was always important to me. I always, and to me, it's always a lesson. Anybody who comes to the house, I treat the way I would want to be treated. And this goes back to an interview I did with Barney Josephson, who was the owner of Cafe Society in the first interracial nightclub in New York, and who was famous, left-wing circles in the 50s and 60s and 40s, 50s, and 60s. I interviewed him at his restaurant, and a day it was 95 or 100 degrees outside. And I don't think he kept the air conditioning on because he was too cheap. And he sat there and knocked down one iced tea after another and didn't offer me a glass of water. And ever since then, I keep a little track. And so Ted Bergman, who's the head of Dumont, he made lunch for me. It wasn't like he had somebody make lunch for me. He just did. And Bob Lewine, who lived in a pink house in Beverly Hills, the former head of, he just went out of his way to make me feel comfortable in his home and to welcome me and to show how appreciative he was. He wasn't doing me a favor. He was happy to talk to me. And there were a lot of people like that, and especially the people who weren't in front of the cameras. But as I said, Murray Amsterdam, he just had such a good time. You could tell, and he treated me that way. And occasionally you get somebody who just treats you like dirt, and you note that too. And that happened, often enough. I don't go out at this thinking that I'm a genius, because I'm not. I don't go at this thinking that I've got all the answers or I can ask the right questions. And a lot of times I just ask dumb questions, or because I wasn't there, because some of this stuff was before I was there, before I was alive, I didn't experience it. It's based on research, and I'd get things wrong. And sometimes they would talk to you like, you're an idiot, which, might have been true, but I didn't really want to be made to be felt that way. And other times, 2 or 3 times somebody would say to me, oh, they're the nicest person in television. One of them was Hugh Downs. And I contacted Hugh Downs, and he was on the set of 2020. And I asked him if we could talk, and he said, how about now? And he gave me as long as I wanted. I could hear him talking to people in the background saying, no, I'm doing something important, I can't deal with it right now. And he just patiently answered every question that I had. And he didn't have to do that. Imogene Coca invited me to her house on the Upper East Side, and people said, oh, Imogene Coca, oh, they loved Imogene Coca. She was as nice as she was said to have been. So was Barbara Billingsley. I'd love to get that on. Barbara Billingsley was as nice as June Cleaver was. I'd like to get that on the record. There was Greg Garrison, who was a tough guy director, who was so interesting and so wonderful. We started early in the afternoon. By the time we were done at night, we were sitting in the dark in his office. And I had to find the tape recorder, because I couldn't see the tape recorder. I didn't know where it was by the time I turned it off and the interview was over.